Hey beer friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Tammy and I'm a brewer and winemaker, and I talk about beer and the brewing industry and travel and all sorts of things. I'm also studying for my certified Cicerone, so I started this channel to sort of help me get better at my tastings and learning my beer styles. So that's what I've been doing up until recently, and then I took a family vacation in March, and we were basically on a cruise throughout the southwestern Caribbean. So I've been doing the last few videos on places that we visited and beers that I tried. So today's video, I'm talking about our stop in Cartagena, Colombia. So I was really excited to visit Colombia because I've never been to South America, and I have a really good friend from college who is Colombian, and so I'm kind of familiar with the culture and, you know, spending time with her family throughout the years, and I just, you know, wanted to see what it was like. And I know there's a lot of, what's the word? Maybe some anxiety or apprehension to visit there because, you know, there's the crime and the drugs and etc. But I didn't feel like there was any point where we were unsafe at all. So I would definitely recommend visiting if you have the opportunity, or if you've thought about it and you weren't sure, then I would say definitely do it. Having said that, because we were on a cruise, I don't know if it was scheduling reasons or maybe not wanting us to be there after a certain time, but we were actually only in port in Colombia for maybe like 6 hours, like 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. So by the time you get off the ship and then get to where you're going or figure out what you're doing, you only have like a few hours. So again, I tried to do some research beforehand, and I had found a micro brewery, like a small craft brewery, near to sort of the port area. And the port area is very like industrial, like shipping and things like that. It's not really like a port where you can just kind of leave and then like walk to town. So we would have had to take a taxi. So I was trying to do all this research beforehand, and I found a brewery that I thought looked really cool. They had tours that they offered, and it was really cheap, like for a tour and beer and like a snack, it was like $8 or something. So I emailed them about a month or two before we went on the trip, and I said, yeah, hey, I want to schedule a tour, and there's probably going to be like 6 of us, whatever. Never heard back. So that was that. So basically we just decided, my husband and I, my 2 brothers and their partners, we just decided to get off the ship and take an Uber and just kind of explore. I will say that this has one of the neatest like ports. They basically have like a zoo. So you walk through the gate or whatever, and there's like this just wildlife park, and so many animals just sort of like free range, especially peacocks. We saw so many peacocks and peahens, parrots of all sorts, things like that. We saw flamingos. I want to say, I don't know if we saw any sloths, but like monkeys, things like that. So honestly, like, you could spend a lot of time there, and I'm sure that there are a lot of people that didn't even go any further. They just were like, yeah, I'm good with this. And then of course you have to walk through the gift shop or whatever, but it was really, really cool. So I was excited about that because I knew that that's what was coming. And so it was like even better in person to see that. Yeah, but we had decided as a group that we were just gonna get an Uber and have it take us to like this little artsy, kind of historic neighborhood. And so we got, my sister-in-law reserved us an Uber through the app. And I would say this is probably a good like option for a lot of people, because there are a lot of sales people, I guess, or taxi people right when you leave the little gift shop port area, and they all are trying to get you into a taxi or like take you on a tour or whatever, and my sister-in-law was like, well, at least through Uber there's like tracking, like they know that we got in a car with this person and at this time, and this is where they picked us up. So like there's a little more security in that sense. And honestly, Uber was way cheaper than the taxi. For 6 of us to ride to downtown, maybe like 15-20 minutes, it was like $10 like, I think, and that was with the tip. It was so cheap. So yeah, so we got in our Uber, and the guy, super nice. And I will say too, like, it was a bonus because my brother's fiance speaks Spanish, so like that was very helpful to have throughout the day, because my Spanish only goes so far. But yeah, so like he was a super nice guy. We're like, where's the best place to drop us off? Whatever, we want to see this neighborhood. So he dropped us off right in this little like I mean, basically an alleyway, but you know, like shops and art, like all just like right there. We got out of the Uber, and it was like all right there. So we were in this neighborhood called Gethsemane, and it's known for like its art. There's like cafes and shops and things like that. And we were probably there a little early for like some of the shops and restaurants to be open. But we actually, like, we walked down a couple side streets and we found this really cute little cafe where all of the tables were outside and just like trees all above us. So again, it was early, but we're like, well, let's have a beer, or let's eat again, you know? So we ordered, most of us ordered a beer. I had one called Águila, which in Spanish means eagle. Just like a light lager. And I ended up ordering that one first because I knew I was going to have more than one beer, but I had seen my brother order something different, so I could see what he was drinking, and then I was like, okay, do I want that one next, or do I want, you know, I always like to order different things so that I can just sort of taste more than one thing at a time, rather than, you know, hey, let's all get the same beer in one round, and then, you know, that's not very exciting. So I started with the Águila, and then my husband ordered sort of like an empanada. I think we had empanadas. And I mean, everything was just like so cheap. I did the conversion, and $1 is around 4,300 Colombian pesos. So, I mean, the beers were maybe like $2, $3. Our empanadas, I think, were $2. Like, just really super affordable. So, I had Águila, and then after that, I had I have one here, a Club Colombia. See that? This is one of the ones, obviously, I bought to bring back because I'm holding it. Again, just another like lager, just like not super terribly interesting. This brewery is in Bogota. I also brought back, which I didn't see on the menu, so when I went to like a store and I saw this, I wanted to get one of these, and this I'm gonna try today while I'm talking. So it's a Club Colombia, but it is the Negra, the dark version. Something else is really cool is that they actually, my beer glass, my Águila, I think came in like a Stella glass or something. So whatever. But my brother had ordered the blonde version, the Dorada, which actually means gold. And they served it in a Club Colombia glass. And so, of course, both of us were like, oh, can we buy a glass? We want to take it home. And our waiter said, oh, we only have one in this whole restaurant. We only have one glass. And so my brother ended up buying it. And then he gave it to me later on as a gift. And so I ended up with this glass. So like that was very exciting. I like the shape. I like the design. It's really cool. Yeah, so we sat at this cafe for a little bit, like really enjoyed it. We just kind of watched like the street vendors, like people just with carts of like fruit that they would just chop and cut open if you wanted to buy something, like just really, really cool. And then a horde of tourists from probably our ship and on like an actual like shore excursion tour. Like there's no other way to put it, but they just like descended upon this cafe, and every single like table and chair that was outside around us was full of these people. And up until then, we were the only people there. There were only 6 of us there. So then now it's like, well, there's all these people here. And then our waiter obviously is like now even more busy because he's got to help these people that I don't think he knew were coming. So we were like, okay, cool. Now's the time to head out. So we left. We from the point where we were dropped off at our Uber, from that point on, we just kind of walked everywhere because we were in a more walkable area that was considered like safer. So we walked to a museum. We found like a really nice like square with like trees and greenery, and again, a lot of people just like hanging out and like having lunch or a coffee, whatever. And on the edge of the square was a history museum. So we walked around the museum for a little bit, and because, you know, we're in Latin America, there's a lot of history about the church, like the Catholic Church and the religion and things like that. And really, my brothers and I did not grow up religious at all. We don't know anything about any of that. So it was kind of like, okay, cool. Like, here's these torture devices. That's fun. That's interesting. But then when it got to be a little more like into the churchy stuff, we're like, okay, cool. I think we're ready to like move on. So yeah, so we did the museum, which also again was like super affordable. I think it was 20,000 pesos, which comes out to like, it was like $6 a person or something, like just really super cheap. We hit a couple stores so we could, you know, look at like the beer options and things like that. And then we ended up walking along the water. They have kind of like an old sort of like armament or like a fort. And so you could just like walk up there and enjoy the view. It's like right on the ocean. Actually, it's still the Caribbean Sea at that point. So, but really windy. So we didn't stay up there too much. But in general, like I really enjoyed all of the art that we saw. All of the food that we had was really good. You know, this was the first place where I felt like I was finding like craft beer in the stores and didn't have to go to like a craft brewery itself. Although I guess I did find some in Curacao. That's true. I was at a grocery store, but this was all like most of it from Colombia. So I was like, okay, really excited. So I'm going to show you also what other beers I got. This one, not super exciting, but I want to just try everything. So this is called Cristal from Colombia. And again, it's like a lager, I think. I think it's probably a light lager. I didn't actually try this while we were there, so I don't know what it's like. This one I got just because I hadn't seen it anywhere else, and it's not from Colombia, but again, I really like the label. It's just another lager. It's from Nicaragua. It's called Toña. And in my mind at this point, I was like, okay, if you see something that looks cool and it's affordable, just get it, because now I know I can bring stuff back on the ship and it's not going to be a problem. And I would say most of these were probably like $2 each-ish. No, these are the ones I'm excited about. So this one is from a brewery called Nevada Cerveceria, and it is a pale ale. Yeah, that's really all I know about it. It is, yeah, I went to the website. I think they have a couple different beers that they offer. This was the only one that I saw at the little mini mart we were at, so that's why I bought it. I like pale ale, so you know, I'll be happy to drink it. And does it have like an ABV? I don't know. The 5% approximately. So that one looks exciting. It's called Happy IU. And then this one I'm also really curious about. So it's from BBC, which after doing some research, I learned that means the Bogota Brewing Company, which is now actually owned by AB InBev, which is Anheuser-Busch. This is a rosé, and I'm thinking it's probably similar to like a shandy. I'm not sure if it's rosé in terms of like wine. I think it actually has like some sort of fruit that makes it that color, but it's only 3.6 percent ABV, so it's not super strong or heavy. But when I put this on the counter to buy it, the guy at the mini mart was like, oh yeah, that's a good choice. So I was like, okay, cool. yeah, so I'm curious about this one too. So that basically sums up our entire day in Cartagena. You know, other than just like walking around different side streets and checking out, you know, like stores and shops and things like that, we didn't really do a lot because we were worried about maybe like not being able to get back on time to our ship and then missing our ship. So yeah, we just kind of did like the cafe. We had we did the museum. We walked along the water. We did the little zoo at the port. I mean, for only having like 4 or 5 hours there, we covered quite a lot. So yeah, I would love to go back and spend more time and maybe actually see some of these breweries. You know, again, it's like it's hard to know how much time you have to go somewhere and if you can get there and then come back, you know, in the appropriate amount of time. So now I'm gonna try my Club Colombia Negra. I'm sort of assuming it's probably gonna be like a Negro Modelo or something along those lines. I'm kind of one of those people where if it's a dark beer, I'll probably drink it. So I don't love lagers necessarily, light lagers, but if it's a dark lager like a Dunkel or any sort of Bock beer or a Baltic Porter or anything like that, like if it's dark, I'll drink it. I just feel like there's a little more character. So that's why I was really excited to find this one. It smells not getting like a lot of anything right there. I like that. It's really light. Again, sometimes people think that like a dark beer is going to be heavy and like thick. A lot of times you hear people talk about Guinness and it's so thick, but Guinness is actually only like a 4% beer and it's super light in body, like in mouthfeel. It's the same with a Munich Helles. You have Munich Helles and then you have Munich Dunkel, and the Dunkel is just a darker version basically of the Helles. So the only difference really is the color. It's not like this is like syrupy or thick or viscous. It's just got like a little bit more toasty or roasty character. I like that because I feel like this is something that is light. It's not overwhelming. It's 4.7% alcohol by volume. What else does it say? It's got Saaz hops, so it probably is a Dunkel style. And that's pretty much all it says. Well, it says, oh, eat it with meat. I want to say smoked meat. This is all in Spanish, so I'm trying here. Or chocolate cake or cafe. Well, cafe is coffee. So yeah, like this is something that you would drink maybe with like a heavier meal that you don't want the beer to overwhelm, but it's not gonna, the meal, the flavors of the meal are not gonna overwhelm the beer either. Like the dark malt and the like the toastiness is going to match that meal, and that's why it's saying like maybe like a meat that's been like grilled or smoked or something like that. It's got a little more character. And if you're having a dessert that's like chocolate or coffee, then this is gonna just sort of like bring out those flavors in the beer. So I really like it. And again, I would probably just drink this like as is. I don't need to necessarily drink beer with food all the time. Yeah, that's very nice. And again, like I said in my last video, I'm hoping that I don't like any of these beers because I can't really buy them here. So here we are with a beer that I like. However, this probably, I could get something similar, like I said, like Negro Modelo. Yeah, or any sort of like dark lager, like a Munich Munich Dunkel style. Yeah. Okay, so now I'm on to my craft beer selection. And I did some research and I decided that I wanted to try this one from BBC. I figured that it's called rosé or rosada because obviously it's gonna be pink, but it says it has flavor and aroma of strawberry, and I thought it would look really pretty in the glass, so let's see. Ooh. Well, this is definitely a lot lighter than they made it look online. But that's a nice color. It's almost like a rosé wine. Ooh, it's very fruity, and I checked, it's 3.6% ABV, so it's light, and 10 IBUs. So it's kind of what I thought. It's kind of like a shandy, but it's like a little bit lingering bitterness. It reminds me a little bit of the Berry Weiss from Leinenkugels, which is one of my favorite beers ever. That one pours really nice, like pink, and is sweet and fruity. It doesn't have like hardly any bitterness at all. This one has got some bitterness that's okay. Yeah, this color is super interesting, especially when this is what it looks like on their website. It's a bit different, so I figured why not keep going. Let's do this Happy IU from Nevada's Cerveceria, Nevada. Yeah, I'm excited. All I know is it's pale ale. Right. That's a nice color. Ooh. It's hard to tell because I only got foam just now. But the color's really nice. Tastes like a pretty standard like pale ale. I really like it. That's nice. I think it could be a little hoppier as a pale ale, but I like it. It was better than the one I just tried, the fruity one. Yeah, I think it's a nicely done beer, and it's exciting to find something that's like considered craft and not just you know, macro lager owned by Heineken and AB InBev and whatever. So that was a nice little find. I probably would have gotten more, except this is the only one I saw at the little store we were at. So yeah, so that's why I got this one, and then that's why I got the rosé one. Anyway, so that was basically our excursion into Cartagena for the day. From what I could tell doing research earlier online before the trip, there were like quite a few like what would be considered microbreweries and like beer bars and things like that, and none of them seemed to be in the area that we were in. So I would say that you'd have to, you know, get a cab or like maybe be there longer than just like a few hours to check them out. So there is a craft beer scene going on in Colombia, so definitely, you know, check it out. And next time I'm excited because I'm going to be doing 2 places in one video, so I can hopefully kind of crunch down my video time. The first place is Panama. So we went through the Panama Canal, well, partially through the Panama Canal, but basically we started on one side of Panama on the Caribbean side, and then we actually drove all the way to the Pacific side to Panama City. So kind of that whole trip and that day. And then we also stopped in a small town called Puerto Limon in Costa Rica, and I had beer there as well. So join me. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Share, like, etc. Drink a beer. Cheers.